please. Thank you.
Let us pray. Our Heavenly Father, we thank you, Lord, for this day and for those who are present here tonight. We ask for your guidance and your direction of this meeting. Bless the officers and the committee members represented here tonight. Bless those who wanted to be here but are unable to be here. This being Women's History Month, we remember and we thank you for those brave women who made contributions in the area of civil rights, that our life in turn would be better. And you may verbally call some women's name if you'd like to. Warriors. Harriet Tubman, Dorothy Haight,
Sojourner Truth,
Rosa Parks, Eleanor Roosevelt, bless us as we strive to make this a wonderful evening, and as we strive to serve those as we serve you. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Thank you very much. So our executive board is a little bit underrepresented at the meeting today, but that's okay. We will soldier on, I should say. For those of you who maybe don't know me, I am Sam North, second vice president of the Peekskill chapter of the NAACP, as well as co-chair of the Criminal Justice Committee. And this is...
I am the Reverend Jan Nunley of St. Peter's Church, the secretary and writer down of all things, and electronic distributor of many, many things. And I have a button that says, "Hi, I can't remember your name either, so if you would please, if you would, when you're speaking, just holler your name so that I can get that down there. Thank you."
As we do at the beginning of every meeting, of course we open with a prayer, and then we open with the mission statement of the NAACP, which is printed on the agenda. If you didn't get an agenda, they're right outside the front door there. But we can read the agenda together if you indulge me. The mission of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People is to ensure the political, educational, social, equality, and rights of all persons, and to eliminate race-based discrimination. Excellent, thank you. So the first thing on the agenda, as you can see, is an experiment that we're going to try. There's been a number of people, we've had some issues with turnout, although it's great to see you all here tonight, and it's a pretty good turnout, especially for the kind of weather we're having today. So I really, truly appreciate your being here. I would like to just point out that we are going to try, we have heard from some people in the organization, members that have not been able to make this meeting or evening meetings generally. There was some discussion amongst the executive board, and the decision was made to change next month's meeting, general membership meeting, to the last Saturday of the month of April, beginning at 9:30 here at the Summit Town Hall of Ed Baptist Church. So doors will open around 9 a.m. The meeting will start at 9:30 Saturday morning instead of our usual Thursday evening meeting. We're trying this out. We're going to see how it goes. I know that for some people, Saturday mornings isn't good. All right, this is something that we discussed back and forth among the executive board in an effort to try to increase participation, but also to give an opportunity for some members who have expressed an inability to be here in the evening during the week, we'll see how it goes, we'll try it out. Right, you can always come back to Tuesday nights if need be. So that is the first item. And I'm going to go through these as you can see, you know, I can speak to the Criminal Justice Committee, and there may be some committee members here that can speak to different things that are happening in the committees. I don't know, you know, I put out a call for people to contribute to the agenda. I heard from some, not from everyone, so we may not have to speak in detail about, it's a long agenda, but don't be fooled into thinking it's going to take us all that much time, because I think some of the things we're going to go through relatively quickly. But I do want to encourage anybody who is a member of any of these committees, even if committee chairs perhaps are not here, if you know something that you want to speak to in terms of something that's happening in your committee, you know, I'm going to offer that opportunity for you to speak to those issues. I briefly will just draw your attention to the next agenda item, which is just to recap the Albany mobilization. This was a lobbying day that took place. Now I forget the date. It was last Tuesday? It was past Tuesday? Right? So, did you go?
Yes.
Okay, so why am I talking? That's great. I knew. Right. Tell me about it.
Okay, yeah.
Because
So-
I haven't even had a chance to talk to either Martin or Gary, and I know Martin, Gary, Eddie, you.
And it was 4 of us.
So Martin, Gary, and Eddie, and you. Okay, great.
Yeah, so we went up to
Can you
Albany.
just introduce yourself to everybody?
Sure, my name's Jessica Nevins, excuse me, just became a member at the last general meeting. And I had the honor of attending this really important rallying day up in Albany, where it wasn't just the Peekskill branch, it was throughout the state of New York. Everyone sort of convening on Albany, and I got the honor to meet Dr. Dukes, for example, and we went on to break up and meet with our representatives. We first spoke with, the 4 of us sat down with Sandy Galiff, and we were, you know, given a prepared, you know, platform, if you will, for the state, from the state and NAACP, speaking on all of the 5 game changers. So, for example, we were talking about raise the age and other current legislation that they're voting on, such as, well, there's, you know, they're allocating money for charter schools. The state, for example, at this time does not support any further charter schools for the state. So we were, you know, presenting our perspective to Sandy Galiff, and we also met with Terrence Murphy in his office and went over the agenda with him as well. Just kind of referring here to, we talked about healthcare legislation and the impact that, you know, the state would have all the way down to the federal level. It was also kind of like a learning experience because it's the first time that this branch had participated in something like that. So in a lot of ways, the 4 of us are really just learning the ropes and figuring out how this works. So now we know where to find them, and we, in particular with Terrence Murphy, we kind of now know, okay, we need to be like super prepared and like really drill him, because he was really good at like not answering questions. So he's very like personable and everything, and it was a delightful meeting, but you know, I think next time around we might give him a little harder time. So, but it was a bit of a learning experience. And whereas with Sandy Galiff, you know, it was more of like, you know, sitting in a circle and talking, and it was more of a conversation. And she's really working hard to get Peekskill the money that they are due in terms of foundation money, budgetary money that's been allocated for the city, but because of the 2008 recession and fallout, a lot of these things got put on the back burner. So now is the time when we're gonna put pressure to say, we need to get the money now that we've been waiting for. So that's just a little example of what we talked about. If anyone has any questions, you can.
Is your name spelled correctly on the flyer?
Oh, no, that's, the vowels are switched. That's it.
That's it.
No.
I wonder, what is our perspective on drugs?
Well, the official position of the state right now is that they do not want the state spending any further money on charter schools. I think the idea is basically to try to work on existing public schools and putting money into that.
That's actually, that's a national, that was put out by National back in October last year. They announced, they called for a moratorium on the development of any new charter schools moving forward, at least for the time being. So, yeah, that's, and the state, of course, is falling in line with that. And that's an issue that we may be facing here in Peekskill, so we are, you know, we clearly are going to be in line with the state and the national on the question of charter school in Peekskill as well. So, thank you very much.
Thanks very
So,
much.
was that the only
Are
question?
there any other questions about that?
Yeah, thank you so much. That was great. It was, unfortunately, I wasn't able to go. I would have liked to have been, and, but I think, you know, your point about this being an important learning experience and opportunity for us, it was, you know, sometimes, we went to a regional meeting where they kind of told us that this was going to be happening, and then they told us that we would be getting guidance from the state, which, you know, came like the day before. Like, you know, it was very,
10 minutes before.
right, so there you go. It doesn't,
But it was okay.
yeah, and so it was, we weren't quite sure, right, what we were bringing to the table. Is it going to only be local Peekskill issues, or were we going to have, you know, some things that they want, talking points essentially that they wanted us to hit on. And we knew that they would eventually want, you know, they would eventually come through with that, but it was, I think, a little bit uncomfortable for a while. But anyway, it sounds like it was great, and as you said, moving forward, I think we'll be able to do more like that, because there are obviously a lot of issues that we need to address. Okay, just in the interest of moving on, in membership, let's start from membership. Ramona's out there. And Massenberg.
They're calling you.
Oh.
Yeah.
No, just anything to report on membership? Anything specific? It's okay if there isn't, I just want to give you an opportunity.
Thank you. We have been getting the rules, we have been getting people, we have been getting, we just recently got 15 members, for membership this month. We have 5 renewals. And again, I just ask that, we all part of membership, so we should all walk with forms, and when you're out and about doing your community, work, you know, if somebody wants to join, we should all committee heads should have forms with them at all times to sign people up. And that's what I do, I know that we do that more, okay? That's all I got to do. Thank you for, it's a lot of new faces here.
I know.
Thank you all for being here.
Seat over here, seat over here. No.
So just to reiterate what Ramona Massenberg just said, it's very important for all of us to take membership seriously. As you know, we always say it's the lifeblood of the organization. You know, when that renewal comes, make sure that you get it back as quickly as possible. And of course, we should all try our best to convince people that we think are fellow travelers who have similar sentiments to join this very vibrant and important organization, which is really doing some wonderful work in this city. So just, you know, and I see it happening right around this room. As Ramona just said, there's a lot of new faces, and it's wonderful to see people coming here and coming out, and we're going to just keep the process moving forward.
I don't know if this is related to membership or whether Eddie Freed's communicated this, but the NAACP Peekskill was designated as a Share the Plate recipient for the month of March at the Unitarian congregation in Crooklyn.
Wow, that's fantastic. That around the real. Thank you very much. I did not do that, so that's great. Okay. Who do we have from Treasury? I'm curious, is there anything about the status of the ability to pay online yet? No, okay. Well, that's what yeah, that's.
They're probably the status.
Exactly. That's a process. Again, we're trying very hard to make it possible for people to join the organization simply by going to the website and, you know, linking it up to a PayPal account. I may be making this up, but something like that anyway, so that people can join, renew their membership, credit card, etc. So that's a process that's ongoing. And obviously, as soon as that's available, that will be up on the website, and we'll probably send out an email to that effect. So again, it's one thing, it's great to walk around with, you know, some membership forms in your pocket or your purse, but it'd be a lot easier to tell people, hey, you know, you can go right on your phone right now, you know, and go to the website and sign up and pay and done, right? So that's where we're moving in an effort to streamline the process and make it easier for people to get their membership. Let's see, is Valerie not down here? Okay. I'm gonna go through communications. I don't really think that this is really more notes that I have for myself that I need to, you know, there's always a constant process of updating the website and the Facebook page. And Valerie Eaton and her team do a great job on that. There are a few things that we need to update, but that's again a constant process. So unless there's anybody from communications who wants to speak to communications, we'll move on. And I'm going to turn it over to you for civic engagement. If that's okay. I mean, if you don't mind. I don't want to do all the talking today.
Civic engagement, conducting the second voter registration drive at the high school. And Jessica over there is a new member to the NAACP, but she's also joined civic engagement, so she was present. There were 7 of us that went around to the classes. It's a wonderful, wonderful experience. And the children were very open and receptive, and now the teachers have gotten on, and they've had their own presentation, so it's a wonderful day. And I invite any of you who are looking for a committee to work with to join us on civic engagement.
The battle that we have all the time. I'm criminal justice, so I'm exempt from that, but okay. Yeah. No, that's fantastic, and I think we should give civic engagement a round of applause. Again, if we want to talk about, right, membership being the lifeblood, well, how do we go out and get membership? Civic engagement has been at the forefront of that process, going out there, registering people and spreading the word and getting the message out and getting people to join the organization as well. But 42 new students registered to vote, which is amazing. Gary mentioned also signing up some kids for getting an absentee ballot,
Yes.
because a lot of kids will go off to college and then they won't vote, right?
Right.
Because they're registered back here. And so again, I thought that was extremely forward-thinking of you and your committee to be thinking about those lost votes that we need to capture back, especially in the town.
We're gonna partner with the high school this summer to see if they can help us do voter registration.
Amazing.
They earn credits, school credits.
And community service probably as well. So there's a lot of opportunities for young people to get involved, which makes me think I should have put the youth committee next. Maybe I'll move things around, but yeah, that's a wonderful idea. Yes. So that was last week,
That was Thursday, last Thursday.
and that's the second time that they have done that in the high school. Each time has been just extremely successful. And just, I have to say, credit to the school district, to Dr. Fine, who is a very willing partner in terms of working with the NAACP on a number of initiatives, to the new principal of high school, Rodney Arthur. I have to give credit to him, and of course, all the teachers that allow you to come into the classroom and engage, and really, it sounds like forming relationships and a partnership that will continue on, so.
One of the classrooms, they did a mock election, so they had this young man who was running for president. So I think it all correlated with us coming, but it was interesting to hear, he really had a thought-out campaign, so it was really interesting to watch.
That's great. Very exciting. Okay. Can I jump down to youth? Because just because it makes sense to me that we have the, now, I see a lot of young folks here representing the youth committee. Do you want to say a little something about what's going on with you guys, what you guys are doing? And be sure to stand up, just tell us who you are.
So, hi, I'm Zara Bailey, I'm from the Youth Advisory Council, and tomorrow on March 29th from 4 to 7, we're going to be having ice cream social and a pizza party for the youth in the community, just trying to bring them out, send them up for programs, advocate for the NAACP, kind of like a membership drive kind of thing. So we're hoping for support to come out, and anything you want to add? Okay, so that's our most recent event. Is that the youth room? What time again? 4 o'clock to 7.
And that's at the youth bureau?
Yes.
That's great. That's wonderful.
Thank you.
That's very exciting. We're trying, for those, again, who may be new, we have 6 game changers now. The state has designated 6 main areas that the NAACP is focused on. Health, education, civic engagement, criminal justice, I'm missing one, economic advancement, of course, and most recently, they have added youth as they've elevated youth engagement to one of the now 6 game changers, which I think is very important, obviously. We're very fortunate to have some, dedicated activist young people, and we're, I think that the work that the Civic Engagement Committee is doing in the high school, of course, is going to energize some young people who may we're talking about the possibility of not only having a youth chapter, but also having a high school chapter of the NAACP as well. So we may, sort of have a farm team working its way up, right, into the youth committee and eventually up here to us old folks, not you and me, but me. All right, so, great, thank you again. Ice cream social 4 to 7 tomorrow, that sounds good. Okay, back up to education. Do we have anybody from the education committee here today? I think anybody is here. So I'm going to speak just very briefly about the Lifted program. This is the state education chair person, Ms. Gall, is, we've been in contact with her to apply for a grant which is made available through the state NAACP, which is called, the grant is called, or the program that you apply for is called the Lifted program. And it is, it is grant money to essentially work to help parent engagement, parent involvement in a student's education. So it could take a variety of forms. It could be, classes for parents who are struggling with the new math. You know, you can't help your kid on their homework because you don't know how to do the new math. So there might be money made available for classes that we could hold in the community to help parents in that regard. So the idea is to encourage parent involvement in the classroom, to help educate parents in ways that might be helpful to their children do better in school, et cetera, and so forth. So that application process is just in the beginning stages. That's something that the Education Committee is going to be working on moving forward. Among other things that I know that they're engaged in, but I would rather let them speak to that, and since they're not here, we'll move on from that one at this point. The Economic Advancement Committee, which is chaired by our president, Martin McDonald, he has a couple of things that he asked me to just put on the agenda. There is a music CD project, or how do I describe it? The idea is to have essentially a talent show of young performers in the community that write their own music, and what he was putting out a call for these young talented singer-songwriters, musicians, whatever, to compose some original music that had a social justice theme, or something that was uplifting, social justice-y, something in the realm of what the NAACP stands for. And he was there was going to be a group, I think, of seven of them that would be chosen from those that actually auditioned. Thank you very much. And eventually, some of those, or 7 of those, I don't remember the details, would actually, there would be a CD that would be cut with those original songs, and that would then be something that could be sold as a way to, bring some music, bring some money into the hands of those musicians. So just a way of energizing young people to get involved, recognizing their talents, show them, bless you, an opportunity to potentially make a little bit of money in this process and to do something good for the community. So, yes, please.
I have the flyer for
Oh, there you
that,
go.
actually. Yeah, no, it's okay, it's okay. I have the flyer for that. We're actually having the open call / end of registration, April 1st, this Saturday.
April 1st, right.
Right, at the Z Studios, between 12 and 5 p.m. So you guys can just swing on through. If you want the flyer, you can just tell me and I'll text it to you, okay? 12 to 5 at Z Studios. Okay? Yeah, if you want the flyer or any more information, you guys can just talk to me, okay? Oh, I'm Nikki, by the way.
Thank you, Nick. And he put this Teen Entrepreneur Club on here, and I don't know anything about it. Oh, good.
My name is John Eigner, and Saturday a week ago, Martin and I met at the Division Street Art Gallery.
Yeah, that's the Robeson Gallery.
Right, and Aaron was there as well. And I I proposed to start a teen entrepreneurs club that would empower, motivate, and teach the basics of financial management, small business, entrepreneurship, options for startup. I prepared a 3-page proposal, which Martin has. And I also agreed, I also agreed to make a flyer and an application form, a brochure relating to it. I have an early draft with me. If anybody has a related interest that they'd like to look at it, I'll be happy to share it. I think that this idea really overlaps with the youth and with education.
Yeah.
So anybody who has interest in those areas, you know, I'm happy to collaborate with. I myself have about over 50 years worth of diverse experience in all forms of small business, and I've worked for myself on and off most of my life. So, and I spent 15 years as a career counselor, so, you know, and other things.
Wow, that's fantastic.
So anyway, that's in summary. It was. We also, by the way, accidentally had a meeting with the owner of the Division Street Grill, who is very interested in how should I put it, in youth and how we can participate. We didn't get into details, but he definitely is on board for talking more about it.
Right. Yeah, Arnie Paglia is a good friend to the NAACP. And he has, you know, we have our meetings, our executive board meetings in that Robeson Gallery. If you haven't been to the Robeson Gallery yet, which is upstairs above, it's certainly worth going to see. There's some great, you know, there's a permanent exhibition of some Robeson memorabilia, Peekskill Riot stuff, things like that. That's always up there. And then there's the main part of the gallery. There's you know, ongoing different shows that are curated by Donna Mickelson, usually. And again, with the social justice theme of the show.
I see how it could become a valuable resource.
Absolutely. Yeah. So it's definitely great. So, and I just want to thank you, John, for that. That sounds like a wonderful idea, and thank you for the work that you're putting in.
If anybody wants to talk to me about it, I'll hang out for a little bit.
Right. And Aaron, thank you too. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I wanted to mention,
I didn't want to spill your beans.
I spoke to Marty and John in regards to, let's say for instance, if anyone is interested in becoming a construction inspector, working on roads and highways.
Right.
I have information, probably the best way to go about getting into that, and if anybody is interested, I mean, I don't know whether it's a good time now to talk about it, or we can talk about it later, or we can talk to Marty, but I think we plan to set up another meeting where we're gonna try and get more people. But, Aaron Moore. Yeah. And basically involves getting certifications. And once you get the certification, which costs some money, I gotta say that, but we're talking about a career here, a lifetime career, so that the money that you would invest to get certifications is very minuscule. At the same time, realizing some people don't have that money, you know, so. We have to figure that
What I
out.
heard from you, it's money much better spent than at Trump University.
Okay. Anyway.
Yeah, no, that's great. And you know, I'm sure that you know, one of the areas that we all have to be thinking about is how we can, you know, how we as an organization can potentially either find ways to raise money to offset the cost for some just for people in the community that might want to take advantage of programs like that but can't afford it.
Right.
Maybe we can look for creative ways to, build relationship with local financial institutions that might be willing to, have, be more lenient with lending policies and things like that. So these are the kinds of things that we'll be working forward on so that young people can take advantage of exactly that type of opportunity to, move themselves into a career, as you said, right, that can be a lifetime benefit for them.
Right.
Wonderful, thank you very much, right? Look at this, all the things that are going on, just keeps amazing me. So I hope you're all as impressed as I am at how much the NAACP and Peekskill is doing. And so let's move on to health. I can read what Eddie Freed sent me, or who's from health? Who's here from health? Anybody from health? On the health committee? Want to speak to it? Okay. Eddie Freed sent me this. He wanted to just make sure that we are aware that the health committee is holding an event on health and racial disparities within health on Saturday, May 20th, from noon to 2 p.m. I'm assuming place to be decided, because I don't see that here, and I just cut and pasted from his email. But as you can see, the plan is that there'll be a healthy lunch, there will be a motivating keynote speaker, a segment from the film on natural causes, and then small roundtable discussions about some of the issues raised.
And that's time again.
Noon to 2, May 20th, Saturday, May 20th is the plan at this point.
It's to be determined.
I believe so. They may have a better idea about that, but they're not here, so. Sorry? It's the health committee. So Eddie Freed is one of the co-chairs. There are other, I think there's at least one other co-chair. We recently added an environmental committee. Yes, what are we calling it?
The Environmental Climate Justice Committee.
The Environmental Climate Justice Committee. I love that. Especially today.
Say that again, please. The
Environmental
Climate Justice
Climate.
And yeah, I think I'll
Please.
speak on the game. So,
Just tell everybody who you are.
yes, my name is Vanessa Goodell. I'm a new member here at the NAACP. Thank you all for having me, and thank you all for coming out on such a rainy day. So we're starting the Environmental Justice Committee. I have a bit of a background in activism. I've taught the pipeline here. I went through the Hudson River. I'm also part of the Conservation Advisory Council with the City of Peekskill. I'll speak on Solarized Peekskill after kind of go through what I see the vision of this committee really being. So what I've been thinking, and I am completely open to your ideas and what your vision might be as well, but I'm thinking we focus on kind of 4 initiatives: awareness, advocacy, assessment, and accountability. So we want to be aware about how climate change is disproportionately affecting our community, because we do have the incinerator right here, Indian Point is here, the pipeline. These are all things that are causing, that are putting our quality of life in jeopardy. Not only is it putting us, our health in jeopardy because of what might happen, perhaps in our catastrophe, but it's also emitting carbon emissions into the air, which are affecting us worse than it would affect anyone else who were further away. And these are things that they put in low-income communities because they know that people won't put up much of a fight and don't have the money to really fight against it. And these are things that we want to make sure our council members are being held accountable for. So we're making ourselves aware about what we have in our environment and what could come into our environment. We're advocating for those initiatives, making our community aware about what's going on. We are making assessments. One of the initiatives I really want to see here that the NAACP do is maybe push for benchmarking, which would then make businesses or buildings of a certain size track their energy use. And when we kind of push for these buildings to track their energy use, we can assess how they can kind of move to greener energy, more renewable energy, how they can save on energy. These are all things that we can kind of advocate for once they're doing the numbers. And accountability, we want to make sure that our council members are voting in an eco-conscious way. And of course, we want to make sure that things like gentrification, which all these things have to do with the environment at the end of the day. These are all things that we can fight also. And by holding each of our council members accountable, by, for example, giving them each a report card on like a grade on how they are on environmental issues. These are things that would kind of give them an initiative to make sure that they're keeping us in the back of their mind. So those are the kind of ideas I have for the council or the committee. Feel free to come see me. I haven't set aside a day that we'll be meeting. I don't know anyone that's interested, so come see me at the end of the meeting so I can kind of get your names and emails. And secondly, the CAC is doing a solarized Peekskill campaign, which the city of Peekskill kind of spearheaded. We are now co-sponsoring that campaign. What happened is we had, so NYSERDA grants the Solarized Peekskill kind of campaign that they do. They've done it all over New York State. We're actually the first city to be a part of it. They had a ton of solar energy contractors apply. NYSERDA kind of vetted them, and then the city of Peekskill, as well as other community members, chose the best solar company that would be best fit for the needs of Peekskill homeowners. So because of that, we now have this program that's running until June 4th, where you can sign up for solar and get way cheaper rates because we're doing it as a city. Now, what the CAC and the city of Peekskill wants to do, as well as Solarized Peekskill, is they want to put on an event for you guys and for the bigger NAACP membership. And that would include the installers who would be there. They'd walk you through the numbers. I mean, so the rough, and they'll explain the details if we do end up having the event, but you could potentially save $160. This is for all homeowners here. You could potentially save $160 on your bill every month on energy use, which would mean that you would be producing your own energy. Now, if you don't want to pay your solar panels out of pocket, you could then pay a rent. So that $160 that you'd be saving, you could put towards your panels. So it's not like the amount of money you'd be paying wouldn't change, but eventually you'd pay off the solar panels, and in 5 years you would see that $160 potential discount on your monthly payment. So these are things that we want to make sure our community knows about. And I know it was something that Martin wanted us to kind of take a vote on whether we were going to do something like that, because I know Solarized Peekskill is looking to do this event in April or May. I don't know how we want to
So
go
the
about
vote would be what, on whether to do the event?
Yes, if it would be okay for us to do an NAACP event, maybe here or somewhere where the community kind of would be, where they're used to having events. Because we had one here at the Nutrition Center at the Field Library, but there was only, well, we had actually a pretty good turnout, but I didn't see any of the NAACP membership when we sent out. I guess a few of you guys were there, but yeah, I apologize about that. But yeah, we want to make sure that we're getting the word out and that everyone knows about it, because the more people that sign up for this campaign, the lower the rates go. So the first 20 that sign up, the rates go down about 20 cents. And then there's also rebates. They're putting money into our local economy, because what they're doing is, if a certain amount of people sign up, they'll give you a rebate back but through gift cards. And the gift cards are coming from local restaurants, local shops here in Peekskill. So they're investing in our businesses as well, which is something that we really want to see. But yeah, so that's about it. Thank you.
That's great, thank you very much. I think that the vote would probably be something that would be for the executive committee. And that's a vote that we don't have to meet for that. We often will vote but via email or whatnot. So we'll you or Gary or you and I, or whoever, we'll talk about that and we'll figure out exactly what we need to vote on and figure out exactly what we go with that. Because I can't imagine there'll be any opposition to doing that. It sounds like a great opportunity. It's very exciting. I love the enthusiasm and I hope that people will consider joining the Environmental Climate Justice Committee. And I say that being one of the chair people of the Criminal Justice Committee, right? So you know that hurt me to say that. But I do hope, and you know, one of the things that you all can do if you know, you're not sure if you want to join now or you're not sure what committee you want to go to a meeting for, and sort of check it out and see, you know, who's on the committee and whether you want to hang with them or not. And that's probably not a good reason to make your decision. But anyhow, the calendar that is available on the website and also on our Facebook page, we have regular monthly meetings of each committee, and the dates and times of those committee meetings are posted on the calendar. So I'm sure very soon Vanessa will pick a date and time that will be, you know, that same date and time every month moving forward, right? So, and anytime you are interested in participating in any of these meetings, you just go on the website. You don't have to call them. You don't have to ask permission. You just show up. My Criminal Justice Committee meets the second Saturday of each month at 10 o'clock at the Theme Runner, right? So we're just there. Whoever comes, we'll talk criminal justice, right? So we're happy to have anybody and everybody show up.
As a matter of fact, I'm working with Gary to create, we want to keep it succinct and not overdo it, but everybody will start getting an email every week which shows this week's events and meetings, and then also below the following week, so you can start planning ahead and not have to go to the calendar or whatever. And it's not just our meetings and committee meetings, it's also going to be pertinent meetings, city meetings, because we want to have representation at those meetings as well. So we're compiling an overall calendar and breaking it down week by week and sending it out. So there's a lot of synergy and a lot of overlap here. So there's countless numbers of ways to get involved.
Right. That's great. That's great. And it's important for us to have a presence at common council meetings. It's important for us to have a presence at the school board meetings. Right? Talk about accountability. We have to, you know, just being there, just showing that we are a force in the community is a very important part of, you know, making sure that we can hold elected officials accountable, because they are working for us. Yeah, Sandra.
Question, did you have a target date, I believe you said between April and May?
Yes.
April has, you know, a couple of holidays as well as May, Mother's Day, Memorial Day. Do they have a target date?
They would be open to doing anything at this point. They're pretty open to weeknights. Our last event, our launch event was on a Wednesday night, and that was from 6:30 to 8. We could do something shorter. If it was really trouble getting a date down, I mean, I'm sure that they would even come to one of our membership meetings and do like a shorter 30-minute presentation. So that's also something that's possible.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, we did youth. Ice cream social tomorrow, 4 to 7. Don't forget. You're probably not going to get an email about that yet, so hopefully you wrote that down at the youth bureau. I will talk criminal justice.
I'm sorry, I was just
Sure.
one
Yes.
youth-related announcement.
Please.
So I'm so sorry that I came late from
Not at all.
Megan Kelly, and I know you might have already talked about the CD project.
A little bit.
So I just want to let you know, I have flyers here, I have registration forms here. We'll be at the Zoo Studio on Saturday from 12 to 5. Please tell your young people to come with their positive messages prepared. All right, so I'll leave these here for everybody.
Thank you very much, that's great. So, the Criminal Justice Committee has been doing a few things. The main thing that we've been working on, I think I may have spoke to this last month as well. We're working on a draft document framework for the creation of a community advisory board. We have been this has been a long process of buttering up the police chief and
Building
and
relationships.
that's what I meant to say. That's what I meant to say. It's, what is a catch more flies with honey.
Flies with honey than vinegar.
Right,
That's
so,
right.
but it is important. It's been important for us. We made a decision early on that we wanted to have a good working relationship with the local city government officials, but also in particular with the police department here in Peekskill. A good relationship, but also let them know that we are a force in the community, a well-organized force in the community that is watching always, and that will be advocating for, bless you, for the needs of our community, and protecting the rights of the people in this community. That said, we made a proposal to them some months ago now, 5 steps for a stronger, safer community for all. One of those 5 steps was the creation of a community advisory board. We have gotten quite a ways in that process. We've gotten the chief of police and city manager, Richard Lanes, have agreed to work with us on the creation of a community advisory board. And so we have been working. Dennis King here is here. He's part of the committee, and he's been invaluable in terms of ideas and working on developing the document. We're trying to, lay out the groundwork for what the committee will look like. Who's going to be, who do we think should be on the committee, how that process will be chosen. Really a blueprint for the creation of what we are tentatively calling what did I call it? The Peekskill Community Police Advisory Board. I wanted to put community first. And I don't know if it worked. I don't know what alliteration works better, but I thought community was important to come first. So we're looking to call it the Peekskill Community Police Advisory Board. We're quite a ways through the process of developing this framework document. Once we have what we think is a good working document, we'll share it with the chief of police and city manager. And we will have our initial meeting to go over that framework and make sure that everybody is comfortable with what it says and how it looks. And then we will, we're going to start looking for people that we think would be important to get on that committee. We're looking for, of course, a representative cross-section of the city of Peekskill. People with criminal background expertise is great, but we're also looking for community members who are particularly in tune with the issues that are important in their neighborhoods. So we're going to, again, be working on that process as well, figuring out how many people we need to have on the committee to make it representative but not unworkable, because we don't want it to be too big, obviously, because then it becomes difficult to operate. Whether we're going to have all public meetings or some private and some public, these are the kinds of things that we're going to have to hash out over time. But we are quite a ways down the road, and I have to say I have been pleased with the willingness on the part of the city manager and the chief of police to cooperate on this initiative. So that's well underway. The Samuel Harrell case, of course, this is an ongoing I mean, to say it's a miscarriage of justice is beyond, is just not even, doesn't even cut it. We have, again, we talked about this last month, and the process continues to move agonizingly slowly from my perspective personally, and I know some of us in the room feel the same way. The state chairperson, Leroy Gadsden, is the state chair of the Criminal Justice Committee for New York State. He's also the president of the Jamaica Queens branch of the NAACP. He has assured us and continues to assure us that they have a very well thought out plan of action. What they have asked us to do, again, is to make our knowledge of the events that ended with the murder of Samuel Harrell in Fishkill Correctional Facility, make our elected officials aware that we are aware, right? So we have a petition letter, which we are almost at the point of being able to post, and we're going to be sending that out to all of you, for everybody who's a member of the NAACP and Peekskill. And it's going to be one of those, you can just add your name to the petition, and it's going to go directly to a targeted group of elected officials in the state, so that we can, again, let those people know that we know, and that we're watching and waiting for them to do something after these many, many months, now years, almost a year and a half, almost 2 years, right? That nothing has been done to address this crime against this man, Samuel Harrell. So that will be coming. I just urge you to look out for that. It'll be probably through change.org that it'll come through. So if you see something coming from change.org about the Samuel Harrell case, please, take the time to go through and just add your name to that petition.
Jim, I was wondering why the Harrell case was not on the Albany mobilization agenda, meeting there with the state assemblywomen and state senators. I'm just wondering why that wasn't on the agenda.
Well, it wasn't on the state agenda. Well, actually, we did hand out information to both Sandy Galiff and Terrence Murphy, and we did ask them, but we were following the state's guidelines, which were explicitly just say to your representative, are you aware of this Samuel Harrell incident and what happened? And leave it at that, so we did that.
Were they aware?
Sandy Galiff said, oh, yeah, she was sort of vaguely aware of it, but not, she read something about it.
Murphy?
No, he was not aware of it, so. Now they are.
Yeah, again, mine is not to question why, I suppose. The theory that they're working with, as it's been explained to me and to others on this executive board, I've gone to regional meetings and met with Chairman Gadsden, is that if we go to them and say, hey, have you heard about this? Here's the information, as opposed to saying, what the hell are you doing about it? Why haven't you done something? The idea was to enough people coming up to them and saying, hey, have you heard about this case? If they don't know about it, in theory, they would then say, hey, how come I don't know about this? My constituents are bringing this to me and I don't know anything about it, so let me call up, the people who should know about this, whoever that is, and get the ball rolling in that regard. But I do, the petition letter this is another step. It's going to be a little bit more pressure put forward. So again, it is moving at what I would consider to be a snail's pace, but if we get justice in the end, if it takes longer, then that's, if they have a well thought out plan, which they assure us that they do, and it ends up leading to some type of just full resolution, then, again, down the road, we're going to be expected to be more active in this case. What that'll actually look like, I'm not sure, but, so for those of us who are outraged as I am and looking to do more, rest assured that that's coming down the pipe. Right? Okay. You mentioned raise the age, of course, that's an important issue for the Criminal Justice Committee. New York State is one of only two states in the country that automatically charges 16 and 17-year-olds as adults. North Carolina is the only other state in the country that does that. This is getting some much needed attention at the state legislature level. And so this is a good time for us to be putting pressure on in that regard as well. So we're going to be advocating about, continuing to advocate on that issue. And there is also a prosecutorial misconduct bill that's working its way through the state Senate, which is also very important because right now there is essentially no law to police prosecutors when they make mistakes or when they actively do something illegal. And they've been caught in a variety of situations, and there's essentially no mechanism to hold them accountable. So that's another piece of legislation which I believe, if I'm not mistaken, is co-sponsored. I think it's a bipartisan bill that is being co-sponsored at the state level. So that again is an important thing that we're going to be advocating on. So you'll be hearing more about that as well as we broadcast that out to the membership. Anything else in the criminal justice realm that I didn't touch on?
I just had a question for the 16 to 18 change. Are we going to be doing a petition again that was done last year, or are we just continuing on with that kind of, with like what we're doing now?
We're gonna, I think we'll probably do another petition, but there's gonna be some more direct, I hope, more direct action coming from the state chair. We're following their lead on a lot of these things, and right now, there's a lot going on. So right now, they have been more focused on the Samuel Harrell case recently, but I hope to be hearing from Chairman Gadsden about what more we can be doing on raise the age, because that's obviously a very important issue. Yes.
With the city of Peekskill's perspective on ICE and deportations and the whole immigration disaster, be something that would be in the criminal justice committee, or where would that go? Do you have a position? Does it still have a position?
Turn that over to you. You're really involved with those issues.
With the, there's a lot of ferment right now around the whole issue of how to respond. We're trying to, people, there's somebody working here and there's somebody working there and there's somebody working somewhere else, and we're trying to gather them all together and coordinate the efforts to, first of all, I hesitate to use the term sanctuary city, because it's very much misunderstood by most people. What it is trying to move the mayor and council towards not diverting police department resources, local police department resources, to doing federal enforcement for them. And that's one of the things that we think the pressure is already coming down the pike to do that. It puts the police department at risk of a lawsuit, and it also creates mistrust in the community. And there's no good end for us locally. All of the benefits accrue to the federal government. So we're trying to get them to see this as a local autonomy issue. There's also going to be, there have been several Know Your Rights, Know Your Responsibilities forums. We're working on a forum right now that should be May 21st. May 21st. I'll double check that in my notes, yes.
Out of curiosity, are there going to be any immigration rules?
Yeah.
Because, just a little side note, I was at a conference in Albany this weekend where one of the workshops was on unique immigration or immigrant issues in the upstate areas. Because the thing is that elected officials have kind of taken the call to protect their community members in the city. There are huge resources of pro bono lawyers who are willing to do the work, who are willing to walk you through what your rights are, how to protect yourself, whether you should open the door if ICE comes knocking. The thing about ICE is that because they know that the resources are right now in the city, they attack areas such as Kingston. You've been hearing about the raids that have been happening in Kingston because they know they have no resources. So there's part of the panel that was there was like Catholic Charities. They actually come down and provide these resources for a lot of Hispanic immigrants in areas. And they provide other resources too. What they want to do is they want to kind of create a one-stop shop to kind of be able to give you a full spectrum of resources. So that's maybe someone we should connect with.
We should talk because we've already had a couple of meetings trying to get these things coordinated. We're going to have another meeting on Monday at 6:30 p.m. at St. Peter's Church, which is 137 North Division at Howard Street. If you'll enter on the Howard Street side, it will be in the barroom room in the church.
Excuse me, when you say we're having a meeting,
There's no name yet.
There's been a lot of cross-pollination. There's so many great organizations that are working on a variety of different issues. But of course, this one in particular there's so many different groups that are engaged in trying to address the issue. The Catholic Church, the Peekskill Area Pastors Association, the NAACP, the
Community Voices Heard, Hudson Valley Community Coalition, the Peekskill Hispanic Community.
Right.
And
so point is that there's a lot of different groups that are already, some are already doing things, some are wanting to do things. How do we bring them all together? So the NAACP is engaged in some of these events, but again, this is the difficulty is, how do we, because each one of these organizations is maybe having a meeting this week, right? And so then there's 5 meetings,
exactly.
Right? And so we don't know which one to go to. So this is an attempt to kind of draw things together.
This meeting is inviting all these different groups.
This is inviting all of these different groups, and if you represent a group, or if you want to come representing NAACP, please do. We're just trying to get as much representation as we possibly can to make sure that this is.
When is that, please?
It is on Monday, April 3rd, and it is at St. Peter's Church, which is at Division and Howard Streets, and it'll be in the barroom room. You just come in on the Howard Street side entrance, and just come on in to the church parish hall entrance. You'll hear the voices. We'll put up signs.
Related question. Do you know of any initiatives that are moving in the direction of finding some pathway for undocumented citizens to obtain driver's permits and automobile insurance?
Yeah, that's one of the things that we're addressing. Right now, we're concentrating our efforts on doing this May 21st, Know Your Rights, Know Your Responsibilities. And let me elaborate on that a little bit. There have already been several meetings that are for the affected communities. that address the issue of what do you do when ICE comes. The problem that's been identified is now, for those of us who want to be allies of the community, what do we do and how can we help? The Peekskill Pastors Association has identified a possible place of sanctuary. Is if we have somebody who needs that and has agreed to help with providing food and clothing and furniture and that sort of thing. If it comes to that, which please God it doesn't come to that for anybody. But we're getting ready for, you know, whatever comes. We want to be able to just jump into action as soon as possible. But that meeting on May 21st is designed to have breakouts, both for people who are directly affected communities, and also for potential allies, to learn what can be done and how not to create more difficulties for people who may be at risk right now. But yes, the driver's license thing is one of the things that Ramon Fernandez has been working on, and he's involved in this.
I just wanted to mention also that another group to add to your list there, the Up and Up Human Rights group out of the Universal Unitarian Church in Cortland. They're having a fundraiser at the Bean Runner on April 30th from 4 to 7. It's a musical review. They have about 5 or 6 or so groups already. They're looking for some additional spoken word performers. So if any of you are spoken word performers and want to come be in between the music, they would love that. And the money is going to be going to the Hudson Valley Human Rights Coalition for attorney fees for immigrants that need legal assistance.
Sorry, say that again, the date and the time?
April 30th, 4 to 7 at the Bean Runner. It'll be a musical review and spoken word show. I think, don't quote me on it, but I think it's going to be $15 in advance and $25 at the door. And all the money will go, excuse me?
What's the organization?
It's Up and Up Human Rights.
Oh, it's Up and Up, okay.
Yeah, is sponsoring it, but the money's going to the Hudson Valley Human Rights Campaign.
Thank you very much.
Excellent, thank you. I promise to be brief. What happened? Okay. Unless there's other questions or comments about that, I will move on to Juneteenth. Let me see. I did that too. You're good. I did it, but then I didn't bring it. So that's perfect. So the Juneteenth, seventh annual Peekskill Juneteenth celebration is going to take place Saturday, June 17th. 2017 at the Riverfront Green. There's also going to be a parade as usual. And so there are, the NAACP of course is, well I shouldn't say of course, but I would imagine that we as an organization would want to participate, as we have done in the past, in both the parade and potentially having a booth at the riverfront where we can give out information and, you know, maybe encourage people to join the organization, maybe do a little bit more voter registration, the kinds of things that we usually do in passing out information at the events. So if you are a vendor of some sort that you would like to actually be a vendor at the Juneteenth parade, at the Riverfront Green, if you go to, this is on the city's website, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think, yes. It's on the city's website. I think it's on the city's website. There's if you just Google Juneteenth Peekskill, it's going to take you, and I'm pretty sure it came from the city's website. I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, has to be, because it's in cooperation with the city of Peekskill, so, yeah, gotta be in the city of Peekskill. So there's an application to take part in the parade, there's an application to be a vendor or a nonprofit presenter at the riverfront. And so that's something that we are going to be talking about, what the NAACP involvement will be in that.
And the deadline for applying is June 3rd.
If you want to be a
If
vendor.
you want to be a vendor or a nonprofit organization, participate.
All right, so I imagine we'll talk about that at our next executive board meeting, and possibly bring that back to all of you at the next meeting in April. And then I just put on here, just for all of us to be thinking in the back of our mind, we had a booth at the farmers market last year. Once a month, first Saturday, I believe it was. Every first Saturday for farmers market is open about 7 months now, right? So, and that was a great way for us to get our faces out into the community. We gained membership that way. We did voter registration on those days as well. So it was a very effective and very useful way, and I hope that we will do that again and possibly even increase the number of times that we are at the farmers market. But that's really going to count on people being willing to man that booth. That was the thing that limited us in the past to once a month was you got to have people that are willing to commit to the time of being there, setting up a tent, and being there.
Having a tent instead of, that's walls.
Wow.
Oh, walls.
Right, so again, this is something that we'll be talking about in executive committee session, but I just wanted to mention to general membership, because that's coming up not that far away, spring is in the air, and we'll be reaching out to all of you to maybe commit yourselves to spending a little time out on a beautiful Saturday morning at the farmers market talking about NAACP business. Time to wrap it up, I know. Last call for any additional business?
I was supposed to mention the health committee restarted, and they're in the process of planning an event for May 20th. More information to come.
Do you know the location?
Oh, yes, we didn't have a location.
We are going to be doing it at the Mount Olivet Baptist Church, and it's going to be in collaboration with Sister to Sister and various other community organizations.
All right.
I was a little tardy, so I just want to give the treasurer update in regards to the NAACP. So as your newly inducted treasurer, we are trying to create some processes and protocols that provide us with some check and balances in regards to everything financial. So we have now instituted like a check request process, also a reimbursement request process. We are also, anytime that there's a reimbursement or a check request, they have to come back with also the original receipts to document. At the end of the year, we also have to be accountable for every dollar, every money that was spent. So when we do our financial reporting, we need to show how much money was spent on balloons, how much money was spent on tablecloths. And so there is a new process that we're trying to abide by as well. So I just wanted to also say, we're creating that, and we're creating a lot more financial accountability in regards to everything financial. We want to create some more synergy with the departments as in regards to like membership, also in regards to like fundraising, and also if any time like a committee is having like something that's going to generate funds or anything like that, we think that a treasurer or the assistant treasurer needs to be involved in that so we can make sure that we're denoting what has been received and what has went out in regards to expenditures. As of today, we have $9,057.57 in the account. We have a few pending checks and expenditures. Once those clear, we'll be left with about $88,000 in the bank. I mean, $8,800. $8,800 in the bank. Once those clear, we'll have $8,800 in the bank.
God give it the increase.
What we are also trying to do, and we're gonna talk about this at the next executive board, there was this proposition of letting each committee have a certain amount of money to spend per the year. So for example, if we gave membership $500 and they spent, $200, then their remaining budget for the year is $300. So, we're looking at that and also creating what we consider like an operational budget, because there's certain things that just need to happen for the NAACP to be successful in regards to like the renting of this space, postage in regards to stamps. Those things need to happen. Those, whether, membership derives or not, those things need to go out. And so we're looking at creating that. And so that is to come. I also want to say that the Square and the credit card reader has been phenomenal on the membership drive. We were able to collect 17 memberships right then and there with the credit card reader. So that is something that we're going to continue to do. If any of you did the credit card, you got the receipt immediately. You got the email that was sent right back to you that said thank you for your membership and all of that stuff. So that was great, and it's trackable for us too as well, so it's easy for us to track. The last thing is that we're going to be meeting to discuss doing like an e-commerce on our website, so that way folks can make a donation on the website, or they can apply for membership or do a renewal of membership on the website as well. So that would aid us in regards to financial aspects too as well. So that's
You
it.
can sell t-shirts that the teams make, right?
Yeah, we can sell t-shirts and the teams make too. Well, CDs, right, if they're doing CDs. Yep. So that's it for everything financial.
Can we pray out?
Let's finish up with a prayer.
I'm with you, I say.
All right.
Let's pray. Thank you, Lord, for. Oh, I'm sorry.
We all pray to the same God. And thank you, Ida Wiggins, for asking me to have this honor to lead the prayer tonight. Oh Lord, our Savior, our God, we thank you for allowing us to come here together in freedom tonight to address the issues and the passions that faith in you compels us to do. We thank you that we are able to have this opportunity to be witnesses of the truth and to dedicate ourselves to the things that really matter in our community. We thank you for the enlightenment of your Spirit that shows us and reminds us that all people that you have created it is your will for us to have the same opportunities for progress, for advancement, and to live a calm and quiet life in tranquility and in your peace. So as we go forth from here, Lord, we raise our hands together, invoking your blessing upon us, upon our community, for the safety of our families, our loved ones, our homes, all those that we care about, and for the success of every project that we have discussed here tonight and those that will come to our agendas in the future, and that all will come to a good conclusion in your name and in your will, according to your will. Amen.
Thank you all for